Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be checking out Conan Exiles, the lore, the story of the Exiled lands, uploaded by Gaudia Sertimans here on YouTube. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I did not. This was recommended to me by Hobbit, our prefect, for this Friday's video. So big thank you to Hobbit for this week's recommendation. As always, yeah, Conan Exiles. I played it a little bit. I do have the game. I think I've only put like an hour or two in it in single player. Unironically, I don't even know how long I played the game for, and it was years ago. I haven't really had anyone to play it with, but I heard it's a really fun game. There's a lot of workshop mods that you can install for it. Hobbit says it's a very fun game, very good game to play with friends, so I'm interested to learn a little bit more about it. Obviously Conan Exiles, I believe it's based off the original Conan movies, though I could be wrong. I don't know a whole lot about the original movies either. It's a little bit before my time, so yeah, without any further delay, I say we get into it. I know there's a lot of slaves, a lot of fucked up monsters, so let's learn about the lore here in Conan. 5.25 thousand subscribers on this YouTube channel here, so of course if you guys enjoyed this video, go over there. There's going to be a link in the description to the channel and to the video. Of course, go check this YouTuber out. We'll see how this video goes, but yeah, I mean, seems like he's making pretty good lore videos. 122,000 views. Let's leave a like. Captions are on. Quality is 1080p. We're full screen. And without any further delay, guys, let's get it. Oh my.
Hello, welcome to this video on the lore of Conan Exiles. Now there's actually loads and loads of lore associated with the game, but unfortunately it's all scattered about the place. You pick it up, the lore stones that speak to you, and you hear it in the dialogue of main characters.
I'll use a little quiet, just gotta turn it up a little bit.
Scattered about the place. But you pick it up gradually in bits and pieces, and it's quite difficult to actually figure out what's going on sometimes.
Okay.
So what I've attempted to do in this video is just put it all down in one place, just to give you an outline of the Exiled lands, where they came from, who lives there, and what the history was. So we'll start with the first chapter of our story, and that's the continent of Hyboria and the Great Cataclysm.
Okay. The Great Cataclysm.
So this is the continent of Hyboria.
Okay.
But this Hyboria is one that's thousands of years older than the one we see in the Exiled lands, and before it was ravaged by a seismic event known as the Great Cataclysm.
Okay.
If we look to the north, we see the land of Atlantis, and just to the south of that we see the Isles of the Picts.
Okay.
In the southeast is the archipelago of Lemuria, and Lemuria is very important to our story, as the Lemurians were the ancient peoples of the Exiled lands, the ancient human inhabitants.
Okay.
And we can also take note of the land of Vlusia there in the west. Vlusia is important as it was the ancestral home of the Serpent Men, the children of Set. And the Serpent Men were the hereditary enemies of humankind, and all the races of man, like the Atlanteans and the Lemurians, were at war with them constantly. But they become important to our story a little later on.
Yeah, I know there's a number of races and whatnot in Conan Exiles and in the world of Conan itself. I don't really know anything about them, or I guess what the conflict is, I guess. But I do know that gods are actually like a thing in Conan Exiles. So the god Set, I know he's actually like, I believe the gods in a way actually exert their power like over the world of Conan in a way, or can exert their power. Now maybe I'm wrong in that assumption, but let's keep watching here.
So Great Cataclysm, when it struck,
so it is some big shit when you hear god
huge
names.
Upheaval, and turned the old continent of Hyboria into this.
Okay.
As you can see, it's a stark difference. If we look to the north, Atlantis has disappeared completely. The Isles of the Picts have become the Pictish Highlands, and Lemuria has been reduced to a single island on the east coast. The Cataclysm devastated all the lands of Hyboria, but it particularly affected the Lemurians, and the civilization of the Lemurians was pretty much destroyed. This forced them to flee west to the mainland, where they ended up in the land of Katai, where they were unfortunately enslaved by the inhabitants.
Okay.
The Lemurians stayed in Katai for many hundreds of years, until a second minor cataclysm gave them the chance to escape. And this secondary cataclysm, also created the inland sea in the middle of the continent. So the Lemurians took their chance, broke free of Katai, headed west and crossed the inland sea to find the place that we now know as the Exiled Lands.
I see.
So where exactly are the...
So they came off their island and then basically immediately got enslaved for centuries. Then at the start of the Second Cataclysm, that basically made this sea here, they were able to break free from their captives, from captivity, and make their way into the kind of the middle of the map here. I wonder if this is going to be kind of like, I guess, like where they live in a sense. Like this does look like desert. This does look like more grassland, more arable land over in the west here. It seems like the east is definitely more every man for himself, definitely a tougher environment, but it's hard to say too because this also looks like trees on the coast here.
We now know as the Exiled Lands. So where exactly are the Exiled Lands?
The Exiled Lands.
There are some who theorise that the Exiled Lands are a sorcerous realm entirely detached from Hyboria, or it's in fact some sort of dreamland. If you want to accept that the Exiled Lands are part of Hyboria, then there's really only one place that they can be, and that's on the northwest coast of the Inland Sea. This is the only place on the map of Hyboria that combines the various elements that make up the Exiled Lands.
Okay.
You have the mountains to the north, you have the river delta, you have the inland sea itself, a vast body of water, and to the south you have desert. And when the Lemurians arrived here, after crossing the inland sea, they found a land that wasn't entirely empty. They found it inhabited by a strange race, which they called the God Kings.
The God Kings. It's quite the imposing name, dude.
All the
Holy
evidence
shit.
points to the God Kings being an alien race that was drawn to Earth in the distant past by powerful sorcery.
Oh, really?
They made the Exiled Lands their
Aliens,
home,
eh?
but they weren't the first to live there. But there were some ancient artifacts, like
Look
the
at their
Circle of
heads.
Swords,
That's crazy.
that were built by races even older than they were.
Oh, shit.
God Kings had created a powerful empire and a huge city, the Unnamed City, that was serviced by massive structures, such as the Great Aqueduct and the huge Northern Dam. But they took pity on the Lemurians who had washed up on their shore, and allowed them to settle in the eastern marshes, and found their city of Zelhar. The God Kings were ruled by a triumvirate who had their seat in the Unnamed City. The triumvirate consisted of the Archivist, who was responsible for keeping the knowledge of the God Kings. Then there was the Warmaker, who was responsible for the safety of the Empire. And lastly, there was the Priest King, who had dominion over the rituals of the God Kings. And it was the religion of the God Kings.
I'm guessing they clearly got fucked up somehow.
And the Lemurians. Because as the Lemurians spread to the north, into the cold lands, they made some rather unpleasant discoveries.
Oh, really?
Specifically about the Serpent Men.
Oh. What did they find out about the Serpent Men?
The last
did the God Kings create them?
They were living in their ancient land of Volusia, but the Great Cataclysm affected them as much as anyone else.
Okay.
After many trials and tribulations, they were forced to retreat to a final stronghold, an extinct volcano known as Mount Vormithadreth.
Holy shit.
And I think there can be little doubt that this mountain
cool
stronghold is none other than our own Exiled Lands volcano.
Okay.
As the Lemurians spread north, they discovered the Serpent Men living under the volcano, and were horrified to find their ancestral enemies living so close to them.
Literally, yeah.
They were equally horrified to discover that the God Kings knew all about the Serpent Men, and were in fact their friends and allies.
Oh, really?
They asked the God Kings to turn on the Serpent Men and help destroy them, but the God Kings refused, and as a result the Lemurians declared war both on them and the Serpent Men.
That's crazy.
And eventually saw the destruction not only in the Serpent Men, but the civilization of the God Kings.
Oh,
the
wow.
destruction of the Lemurians themselves.
So by doing that, they kind of killed all of themselves in a way. Like the Lemurians actually just kind of like pressed the button, for lack of a better word there. Which makes sense. I was going to say it was kind of surprising the Lemurians like took them both on. But yeah, no, they did, but they didn't at the same time. That's kind of crazy, man. Holy shit. The war, yeah, let's see how this goes down.
The war was a protracted affair that led to the building of Zulan, a Lemurian citadel designed to keep the God King separated from their Serpent Men allies. The war lasted for many years, but the beginning of the end was the destruction of a God King army by the Witch Queen, the ruler of the Lemurians, using ancient, powerful magic.
Okay.
At a place that became known as the Shattered Springs, the Witch Queen blasted a God King army, destroying it utterly. Alarmed by this sudden and unexpected defeat, the God Kings turned to magic of their own. They unleashed a demon to carry a sandstorm that would obliterate the capital city of the Lemurians deep in the eastern swamps.
Jesus.
This magic was foiled by an Lemurian priest called Petruso, who managed to halt the sandstorm at a temple now known as the Sand-Swept Ruins.
Okay.
However, the storm didn't just stop. It repeated itself endlessly, sweeping across the southern half of the Exiled lands. This was the end of the Empire of the God Kings, as all the fertile lands that supported the unnamed city quickly withered to barren desert.
Damn, dude.
The Triumvirate too was broken by the war. The Archivist was lured to a meeting with the Lemurians at the Circle of Swords, and was by his own account treacherously killed by the Witch Queen. The Priest King was also killed, in this case by his own son, Tyros the Deathbringer.
Damn, dude.
A hybrid, half-human, half-god king who had fallen in love with the Witch Queen's daughter, Telith.
Disgusting.
Only the Warmaker Clyael survived that time, and he can still be found standing in the ruins of the unnamed city.
That's fucked up. Only the War Makers live still.
So who is the Witch Queen?
Guessing a shell of his former self.
The ruler and chief priestess of the Lemurians, and it was she who led her people from the ruins of the Great Cataclysm to the mainland, and then onto the Exiled lands.
Oh, so she's been alive a while.
The Witch Queen is always referred to as a single entity, but it's not clear if she was an immortal being, or if Witch Queen is simply a title handed down from one generation to the next.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
There's
hard to know.
Possibility in that the Witch Queen is an entity trapped in the mask of the Witch Queen. The mask is a powerful magic object that lets the Queen communicate with the god of the Lemurians, Dagon. If this is true, then anyone who wears the mask becomes the Witch Queen. This is the most likely explanation, as the mask does take over one of the characters in Conan Exiles.
Okay.
But we'll look at her story later on.
The Ghost Wall.
The Ghost Wall is the defining feature of the Exiled lands, as it entirely surrounds the old empire of the God Kings.
Oh shit.
Anyone wearing a slave bracelet will die if they try to cross it.
Damn.
There are two stories about the origin of the Ghost Wall. According to the Witch Queen, the bracelets were made by the Lemurians and the God Kings working together. The bracelets helped the two races to communicate with each other, and the Ghost Wall was created to give the bracelets power. However, when the war started, the God Kings changed the purpose of the bracelets and used them to turn the Exiled lands into a prison. In another version of the bracelets' origin, they were created after the war began by the God Kings to keep their human servants and prisoners of war under control.
Hard to know.
There might have been elements of mind control in this scenario, as it would have kept the God King's prisoners weak and pliable. In either event,
yeah, I do wonder if, like, and I guess that, like, depends on, like, if you're an optimist or a pessimist, you know, was it created in times of peace as, like, for a peaceful application, and only after a war started did it turn to a less than peaceful application, or was it always the intention was to always fuck over those that had been enslaved, the Lemurians, the humans specifically? I wonder. Somebody let me know.
The outcome was the same. Anyone wearing a bracelet was trapped in the Exiled lands till they died.
Damn. The present, okay.
The Exiled lands are a wilderness. To the north and east are the
game does look really cool. It looks very pretty.
To the south, the massive stoneworks of the God Kings. All other habitations are the squalid camps of the exiled bands, the villages of the Vanir in the north, or the mud-built city of the treasure hunters in the west. Only one God King remains, the Warmaker Clyael, who stands alone in the ruins of the unnamed city. The Lemurians have vanished, either absorbed into the ranks of the newcomers, or have degenerated into imps, after long exposure to the corrosive magic of the God Kings.
Oh, I see.
So where do these newcomers come from? Who are the exiles in the Exiled lands? This story starts with a visitor to the ruins of the unnamed city, the sorcerer Thoth Amon.
Okay.
It's he who discovers the last of the God Kings.
Very Egyptian looking.
About the greatest artifact of their religion. the Serpent Ring of Set.
Obviously, Set is an Egyptian god.
Goes to find it, and evidently it
succeeds. In mythology.
As in all the Conan stories, the Serpent Ring of Set is Thothamen's greatest source of power. Thotheman also apparently finds slave bracelets, and is able to copy them.
Thoth is also an Egyptian god as well in mythology. He's the who is it? Is he the guy with the hawk head? I can't recall. I genuinely can't recall. But I know Thoth is a pretty big Egyptian god. Now I don't know the extension to his name here if it's different. Obviously Set is the same, but let's keep watching.
Thotheman also apparently finds slave bracelets, and is able to copy them, because he hatches a scheme with the king of Stygia to make the Exiled Lands a private prison for the king's enemies.
I see.
Anyone who displeases the king has a bracelet put on them and is dumped inside the ghost wall.
Oh.
Periodically, raiders provided by the king sweep through the Exiled Lands and ravage the exiles of any treasures they've managed to find. This is the origin of the Purge. The loot of the raiders furnishes the king with treasure and provides Thotheman with more magical artifacts. So that's the story. So
they're essentially just dumped there and then told to live. And then once they make settlements, once they survive a little bit, they eventually might find some artifacts or might just have some meager earnings. And then the king that sent them there hires raiders, war bands to go through and just loot their fucking settlements and shit. That's pretty rough, man. So it's just constant with them. They're just down, and how do you really get back up from that, especially when you're trapped there? You know what I mean? Magically trapped there.
So that's the story of the Exiled Lands. The lands are a prison where criminals and undesirables are given a bracelet and dumped inside the ghost wall to be cheap labour. One example is Rasma of Shem, the woman we see in the game's opening titles. Rasma is a princess of Shem, who's abandoned in the Exiled Lands and left to die in a crucifix. Conan rescues her, but the two are separated in a sandstorm, after which Rasma has to fend for herself. Eventually she makes her way to Sepa-Maru, where she joins other Shemite exiles, and they plan an expedition to the unnamed city, where Rasma believes she will find a way to break the power of the bracelets. It's not clear what happens next, but somehow Rasma ends up in the palace of the Witch Queen, wearing the Witch Queen's mask, and is taken over by the Queen's essence. The spell is only broken when the Witch Queen is defeated, and Rasma somehow ends up back in Sepa-Maru. It's possible that Rasma finds the mask on her expedition to the unnamed city, and under its influence she then makes her way to the Witch Queen's palace in the jungle. However, in the game the Witch Queen is killed by the player, which leaves us wondering how Rasma was resurrected. One explanation is that Rasma never leaves Sepa-Maru at all. Somehow enchanted by the mask at a distance. On her journey through the Exiled Lands, Rasma camps near the walls of the unnamed city and has a psychic experience in which she listens to the voices of the past. It's possible that the mask somehow influenced her at that time.
That's pretty crazy, man.
The fact that she's of royal blood might have made her a suitable conduit for the mask's powers.
That's true.
When the player fights the Witch Queen,
she's not just any person per se.
That's been animated by the distant spirit of Rasma.
Damn.
Anyway, on that note of speculation, we'll end the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, and I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, that was a decent video, I have to say. Great lore video there. Not very long either. Oh shit. Oh shit, Tropico music. Awesome, thanks for watching. That was awesome. That was Gaudia's Certamins, the Conan Exiles, the lore, the story of the Exiled Lands. This was very interesting to me. Again, I've never really checked out Conan before. Again, played it for literally an hour or two. That's it. So I didn't really know much of the story behind it, but the story actually does seem very, very interesting. I might have to check it out, and maybe I'll play the game myself. I know it's kind of a game. It's obviously more of a multiplayer game, but I hear that you can still play it single player. It's still very fun that way, and there's a lot of mods and stuff, a lot of tweaking you can do to make it more suitable for single player. And the world space is itself obviously very, very large as well. Sandbox game, you can kind of do what you want, to my knowledge. Build wherever you want, kind of do that sort of thing. A lot of options, so I might actually play it myself and see how it is, you know what I mean? This was an interesting video, and yeah, I like learning about it, I have to say. And this guy, this Gadia here made a pretty good video. Very not super how would you say, not super into the details per se, but you don't really need to be. And also, again, just to give you kind of like a vague sense of the world, what's going on, so you're not just like dropped in there with no idea. Very, very effective at doing that, that's for sure. So I enjoyed this, of course. We're subbed up, we're liked up. If you guys enjoyed this reaction, hit that like button, subscribe for more content from me, and of course, leave your recommendations down in the comments below. And a big thank you to, of course, all of our members, all of our Hastati, our Triarii, our Principe, Dagenhart, of course, our Prefects, Hobbit and Fear. I appreciate you guys. A big thank you to you again, Hobbit, for this week's recommendation here. And yeah, without any further delay, this has been Centurion, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, guys.